Why am I so dark here, people? Why am I so dark? Okay, that's much better. Football. Another fourth is know yourself. One love. Chevron Giants or Givens. I apologize. Sylvester Whittingham. You guys gotta see with me, you know. I'm doing some washing while I'm doing this, and I'm hearing a lot of noise in the background from this washing machine. Odell Love wouldn't give me a chance to start the program. I'm jumping right away. Cranky, how come there wasn't any emergency meeting at JFF headquarters following the loss to decide McLaren's future? Someone need to stop this man. Can you guys hear me clearly? Bless up, Conrad. Can you guys hear me clearly? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me put this cushion under my seat so I can stand up. Sorry, people. I was rushing to get this done, even though I set up. Bless up. Can you guys hear me clearly? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me before I jump into this segment. Conrad, I have those emojis, you know. Can you guys hear me clearly? Hey, one love. I was early. Bless up, one love, bless up. You know what? I'm gonna talk about KFC. Actually, I'm gonna talk about KFC. I am going to talk about KFC. So, because I wasn't fully aware of the significance of KFC. I probably should. In Montego Bay, in the square, because they have one up by where I'm at. I am sure they have another one. I think in one of the mall areas. I am confused. I am very confused, actually. I mean, there are. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up some things here, people. There are. There was a line there today. I thought I was at a concert, and I thought the concert, people were at the concert. The line was so long around. I mean, if you go into it's outside the KFC, and then there's another line of cars lining up, right? So there's a drive-through, and then there is a walk-up line. It's unbelievable. Seriously, literally unbelievable. I am just trying to understand what is the draw. What do they have gold in the KFC? Is it a drug? Is it like, you know, some marijuana or something that's in there that why people just seem to be intoxicated by it? Not intoxicated in the sense of being drunk, but it's amazing. I mean, I don't understand. Seriously. I think I did some read up on it because I was like, you know what? Can I get a franchise? Because this is crazy. And then I realized the franchise has been owned since 1975 is what I read. I don't know if that's correct or not. So somebody had the foresight. KFC in the US don't do as well as it does here. What did they do today, people? What did they do today? I don't know. I didn't hear. I don't have goat mouth. Did they do something wrong? What did they do? They have the Broncos. No, I have watched the Boondocks actually. But I'm telling you, people, the KFC stuff is ridiculous. Seriously. There's no KFC in the US where I see lines inside and lines. They barely get anybody come by their chicken. I know KFCs all over Brooklyn. Ain't nobody lining up by no KFC. KFC was free today? Wow. Where, in Jamaica or just globally? Hey, let me tell you something. If I own KFC in Jamaica, it'd be free every other day. They print money. I'm dead serious, people. It has to be the most lucrative franchise in Jamaica. Because you have to think about your profit margin, right? It's expensive. It's not cheap. They sell it like regular food. I went to a restaurant by the airport. I forgot what the name of the place is. And I was comparing my niece. She bought KFC to that price. It wasn't much far off. Or it was a sale. Oh, so the sale that drew the people today. Even when they don't have sale, it seems like there's a lot of people. Oh, your Madrid draw? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Madrid ain't that good anyway. We beat them. 2-1. Hey, Jason, I don't think I've ever seen so many people at I mean, the one by me, I'm staying over in Iron Shore area. The one by me on Sunday, because Sunday you have your Sunday dinner, right? It was full inside. We had to, how do I say it? Incentivize someone for us to get our chicken quickly. Let me put it that way. Incentivize someone to get the chicken quickly because it was taking so long. The line was so long, actually, sorry. So we can get waiting no line. But it's amazing. Amazing. I want to spend all evening talking about KFC, but I found it amazing. Someone sent me this today. It says, could someone please explain which crimes get you deported and which ones get you elected president? It's so confusing. I agree. Or which one gets you locked up for protesting and which one gets you pardoned and exonerated for storming the Capitol? I mean, these things are interesting questions. Mac City, you're accusing me. Hey, Mac City, I'm in Jamaica, you know. You defeat me. I call me liar, Mac City. You defeat me. No, pay nobody. We incentivize someone through some conversations and other incentivized means to assist us in expediting the process to achieve our objective of getting the Kentucky. So my niece should not be starving because when she's hungry, it's not a pretty sight. You know, people that when I'm hungry, them just vex with everybody. That's her. I don't eat meat. No, I don't eat meat. My niece wanted it. No, I don't eat meat. Ricardo. My niece wanted the Kentucky, not me. I don't eat meat. And that's why I don't see the fuss about Kentucky, because it's fried food. Anyway, why are you fussing about some Kentucky? It must have gold in it. As I said before, you guys are using terms I do not register with me. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? World War III? We ain't having no World War III. Some people just drop bombs on others and splinter them. Ain't no World War III. You can't fight somebody who has all the firepower. You fighting with BB guns and they're fighting with machine guns. How does that work? Ain't no World War III happening. They freeze the chicken here? No, I don't think so. Kirk. So why would it taste so different in Jamaica versus the US? I mean, that's what I'm told. I don't know. That's what I'm told. You know, someone told me that Guyana chicken tastes just as well was been in Jamaica. So I don't know if it's a Caribbean, you have organic chicken or something. Is it US chicken they send, or is it the chicken bred in Jamaica and then sold? I have no idea. I didn't know Kentucky recipe was that good. I've had Kentucky recipe when I used to eat meat years ago. It ain't that good. Sorry. Maybe in Jamaica it's different. I don't get it. Drew Ross, a guy in that close. The person swears by it, so I don't know Drew Ross. Depends on what kind of meat. Okay. Somebody say a CB chicken them use. What is CB chicken? hey, you hear? Hey, people. What are you? You are Chris. Hey, Chris was. Hey, wait. You are Chris Williams. I say people. Chris Wisdom. I said, Christopher. Those terms, Christopher. You can't be using those terms in the public domain. Come on, Christopher. You can do better than that, man. We don't do that. Costa Rica Dom Rep. That should be a good game. Dom Rep seemed to run out of steam though. Even though the other night they played well. See, Paul Edwards, who seemed to be informed, says each country season the tickets according to your culture. I think that's what it is actually, because US chicken ain't got no seasoning. When I used to eat Kentucky years ago, it ain't got no seasoning. It's just flaky. Ain't got no seasoning. Oh, Caribbean boilers. Okay, I don't know who they are. But I thought this thing on the screen here was interesting. It all depends on where you are and who you are. I hear the Trumps are coming out with you guys mentioned that the other day. I looked it up. They're coming out with a new phone. Hey, people, you hear me talk about on this program conflict and nepotism and all that. How does a country which espouses the view of morality, doing things the right way, want to tell the rest of the world how to live, allow somebody in their in the elected office of the president to do all this stuff that he does. I mean, isn't that amazing, people? That's why you got to be very careful when you criticize other governments about certain things that they do, because everybody nowadays just do whatever they want to do. We have thrown morality out the door, and we just do stuff to do stuff. It's actually distasteful. It's awful. I grew up a certain way. I don't want to change. You can't convince me to be corrupt. You can't convince me that those things that some of these people are doing is right. I remember when the head of a company I was very familiar with, Goldman Sachs, was going to be the Treasury Secretary. He put all his stuff in trust. He probably was worth about $500 million. He put it all in trust. He didn't control any of his finances. And we allow somebody in the Oval Office to be making money from the Oval Office. And here's the thing about it. The Republicans who believe in limited government and who would slaughter you if Biden did that, slaughter him, are just going along with their merry way. They're not stressed. It's the hypocrisy is beyond belief. Beyond belief. By the way, people, as you come in the chat, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. I gotta get one of those things I see JD has, where he has when you come in, ask if you hit the like button or not. Please hit the like button, people. Just don't come in and get free material and go about your business and don't support the program. Okay. We would appreciate it if you support the program so it can grow. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. You know, I have been getting subscriptions since I've been in Jamaica, and I even go up to people and ask them to subscribe. And they ask, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm a YouTuber," and I give them my channel, and they subscribe because I'm doing the foot thing. I'm walking around begging for subscription. So if you see me on the road like a beggar, you know what's happening. All right. A friend of 28 accounts a yard. Oh, by the way, 28 accounts. Didn't they say that the opposition leader has 30-something accounts? So I guess the opposition leader have more than the prime minister. Let me just say this though. In the politics, people, me da Jamaica, me I try enjoy myself and then go back to my yard. I don't want to talk any politics. Me be like a Maverick. If you're living in the country, don't you have to be on one side or the other? You can't sit on the fence. I know Maverick like balancing, but you can't sit on the fence or balance, Maverick. You have to pick a side. Maverick always going like he's so agnostic and he's so objective and he's so much on the fence when it comes to politics and not picking a side. Everybody pick a side in Jamaica. Nobody up on a fence. They may not care. They may not vote because the last electorate was 37% who voted. But yeah, you don't vote, but don't you have a party affiliation, Gunners? No, you know what? I saw Maverick at the stadium, you know, but I was too busy being a reporter, so I couldn't engage. I was part of the media. He wasn't just part of the media, but I was part of the media. So I was in the media. I was going to the media section, so I couldn't engage him. But I did see him in the grandstand area. Yeah, but I didn't engage him. And I probably wouldn't engage him because he might tell people so, me have him up because in the company program. Well, if Maverick thinks he can make me, and why that's the case. But I have up Maverick. I beat him sometime because he's too hypocritical. I beat YouTube and I praise YouTube. I don't understand the logic. Go one way or the other. Gunnar says, my family does, but I don't. My generation does not care for voting. I don't know a friend that votes. I think that's a wrong approach, Gunners. Even if you're still electing the lesser of two evils, you have to vote. Right? You have to influence direction of travel. So I think you have to, even if you satisfy your, be on the sideline. Should vote. Press, I heard that you ran from Maverick. Presser, you know better than that. Come on, Presser, man. You know better than that, Maverick. You know, so I'm going to run from thing. Me run towards it. I'm going to run from confrontation. Me run towards it. You know better than that, Presser. Come on, Presser. I know you better than that, Presser. You know better than that. You don't run from people. You run towards controversy because that's the only way it works. You can't run from problems. Yeah, triply, exactly. Well, it may be less of two evils, but regardless, you got to vote. You got to choose one of them. You can't say, well, I didn't vote. And what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. Oh, come on, Max City. Musk is a foreigner. Musk is in the country legally. Come on. You know, I haven't touched football yet, people. And we're about 16 minutes in. I haven't touched any football yet. Because I when I run the program, and I miss I go with the flow. Whatever you guys are doing, I'm going with the flow. But I did have some things to talk about. So I'm going to play something. Because somebody said the other day, it's a hindsight view. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's a hindsight view when we talked about the fact that something that the coach did that we didn't agree with. So I'm going to play something that I had on my program. Here's what I said before the game the other day, right? Here's what I said. And the coach of Low in the CDM, I'm always respect for him. We saw how Low played against BVI. He's not a CDM. We should not have gone to a tournament with just one CDM, 1-6. It is inappropriate, actually. I shouldn't use the word inappropriate. It's unconscionable to go to a tournament with 1-6, and when that 6 is not around, we're struggling to figure out what we're going to look like. The whole middle of the field gets reshaped and repositioned when people are in their right positions, actually. So that was my perspective before the game. So that was not a hindsight view that I've been told that I have about Low. That was with and the CDM position. And I'm going to show you something else. Now, this is courtesy of Sportsmax and YouTube, CONCACAF. I want to buy something, do something, and I'm going to give them credit. So this is Sportsmax, YouTube. I took a picture. Hope they don't clap me for it. Can you show me Low in this picture? Where he is? So look at the defense coming back. This is Russell. Where's the CDM supposed to be? Huh? What is the CDM doing? Do we know what the CDM is doing? Do we have any idea what the CDM is doing? This is funny to watch. And here's another picture. It's another picture. Where's the CDM? It's the same picture in a different angle. Where's the CDM? We don't know the CDM there now. I'm trying to figure out the CDM, people. It looked like Russell at the CDM. Right? Everybody match up. What's the CDM doing? When I watch Low, I like Low, by the way, and I've engaged Low, and he's been very courteous to me. So I'm put that out there so people start saying me a hypocrite. But when Low plays CDM, he chases the football. He chases the football. It's like, you know, when you used to play football in primary school, at least when I started playing football in primary school, and they throw the ball, 100 kids just run on the ball, and with the ball, they might got the ball. Now that worked against Canada. It didn't work here. It's not the way to play CDM, people. CDM has to be a tackler, an interceptor, as somebody who dictate the tempo of the game, protect the back four, start the play. There's a bunch of different attributes for CDM. One of them is not chasing the ball. It's positional awareness. And for a coach to put him in there, who, when he failed against BVI in the role, go put him back in center half. That's where he belongs. That's where he's effective. Don't put him where he doesn't belong. Low Vance he wanted somebody who was aggressive. Yeah. The coach and his performances, if we just think about the games that we have played, right? What they send. Look, we did well against Nigeria, undermanned Guatemala at home. We struggled against St. Vincent. We struggled against Cuba. We struggled against BVI. The play has been very, very mixed to date, right? Very, very mixed. And one could say the balance could be positive or negative. Depends on who. The better teams, I don't think he makes a difference. I don't. So you think of the better teams that we played. When we played against the US, he was basically clueless. Right? When we played against the US, to me, he was basically clueless. And it's disconcerting. It's disappointing. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. And so you ask yourself, where do we go from here? So let's go through a few things, right? Let's go through a few things. The decision-making about who gets in the 60-man squad and who was left out is a head-scratcher. Is a head-scratcher. But I'm going to come to some of your comments first, and I'm going to come back to my comments about what we talked about yesterday, but extrapolate on that and expand that. Odell Lowe said, honestly, I can't blame Lowe. The coach played him a position that he's not good at. The coach problem. Yeah, I agree with that. But Lowe also is a footballer for many years. He's got to be better. Travis said, a man playing like a striker. By the way, I'm going to touch upon something. This morning, I'm gonna go over the place, people. I'm kind of not on. I'm not linear today. I'm not linear today, and I agree with that. So you guys forgive me. This morning I went on JD's program because this person called, what's his name? Travis Peso, whatever his name is. I don't know why he finds it something that he has to do every time he goes on a program to call my name and to call me hypocrite and I'm friend with players and I'm talking about players and all of that stuff. So let me just set the thing clear, right? First of all, before I had a YouTube channel, I did go to Texas to watch the team play. Me and Minzy went to look at the hotel for the team. I met a number of players. Some of the players are in my my outer StreamYard video. The players were very accommodating. They were very friendly. I engaged them. Right? I have not gone back to any player environment subsequent to then. So when I went to St. Louis, I didn't go by the players' hotel. And I was asked why I didn't come by. I have my reason for not going by. When I came to Jamaica to watch a game, I didn't know where the players stay. I didn't really care. I wasn't going to go by where they are. And part of the rationale is I am now an independent, I don't want to use the word journalist. That's probably stretching it, but I'm an independent YouTuber. You can call it media personnel. And independence is very important to me, and integrity is important. Doesn't mean you can't have friends with players. Doesn't mean you can't engage players, but it can also affect you and compromise in some respects, right? And I'm not saying I will never engage any player or talk to player. That's nonsense. But to say I'm a hypocrite because I engage with players when I haven't met with any player since I have a YouTube channel, it's just being disingenuous. And this person keeps on calling me out in different environment. And part of the reason, part of the reason is because I blocked him from my channel, even though he probably come back in some way, shape, or form. And I don't want to engage him in any way, shape, or form. You go live your life, I go live my life. That's the way I am, right? I don't want to have the engagement with you. So I don't know why you keep on calling me out about stuff which have nothing to do with reality. So I'll stop there and move on. So I want to get that out of the way. Because this morning I was very perturbed and probably shouldn't have responded. But, I woke up. I was cranky from losing against Guatemala still yesterday. I'm still cranky today. So I felt I just had to get off my system. Chavez says, it's the coach to be blamed. Low IQ. He know Guatemala was coming stronger and still didn't set up well. He plays too defensive. I don't know. I don't know if he's defensive or what he is. Bless up Floyd, bless up Twain. Do I think it's down to the coach? Yeah, the coach is. I am very concerned about the coach. Very concerned about the coach. Christopher says, 2 takeaways from our last game that we lost. Cephas and Gray should not start at the same time. Lower CDM is a no-no. There are more than 2 takeaways, Christopher. So let's touch upon those, actually. Let's touch upon the setup of the team. So the first question is about, did we pick the right 60-man squad? And then did we pick the right 23 or 26, whatever the number is that we brought to the Gold Cup? And then for those we brought to the Gold Cup, we then went for 2 other players. Were they the right players? I'll say a few things. One is, it's heresy. It's unforgivable to bring 2 midfielders to the Gold Cup. We brought 2 midfielders to the Gold Cup. It wasn't we went to the Gold Cup, as I said yesterday. I think we were 9 defenders and 9 forwards and 5 midfielders. And of those 5 midfielders, only 2 were fit. Bobby Reed was not fit. Biziak is not a midfielder. And who was the other one? We had Russell. And Hayden wasn't there. And we knew Hayden was going to be there. So it's heresy. Frankly, it's unbelievable. And then we went with 2 midfielders and only 1 started. I don't know how you get to that. I don't know how you. I'm still trying to digest who's helping the coach. Who are the ones around the coach deciding who gets to go to these tournaments and what players go? Someone called me today, a well-known person, I wouldn't say, and they were talking about Ravel. Right? Why isn't Ravel there? I was surprised to hear the person say that, but it's a well-known individual, and they were like, Ravel should have been there in the midfield. We don't have midfielders. So I was surprised to hear that, to be honest, but I was pleased to hear that, because even though some people believe Ravel is past his prime and he's this and that, he couldn't be worse than what we had there. Ravel and Lowe in the midfield, meaning Ravel instead of Lowe or Lowe instead of Ravel, there is no comparison. It's zero. It's zero comparison. Do we need 9 forwards? Did Busy Atkinson need to be in the midfield, or should he be up front and you drop one of the forwards? If you want to bring Busy, if Busy has to be there. I'm still trying to understand people. And here's the problem that we have. When we have these situations that materialize, there is no repercussions for anything that's done. It's like, oh, it's just life as usual. I'm sure the JFA spent a lot of money to go to the Gold Cup. I'm sure they budgeted to get to at least the quarterfinals or the semifinals. If you get knocked out in the first round, you lose a lot of money. A lot of money. A lot of money. Last time around, we went to the semis. We got money from that. Then we went to Copa. We made money. You're going to lose money all around. This is unbelievable. We don't print money. I don't know. I don't know, people. I understand. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. Oda says this coach cared about playing Antonio to make headline about miraculous comeback, actually winning games. Nobody knew he wasn't going to make it on time. Yeah, I mean, I've said before, I don't think Antonio should be there. Bobby Reed shouldn't have been in the squad. Ravel should have been there. Mother should have been there. Cover should have been there. All right? I know we sent for K-Roy and we sent for McCullough. I think the three players we mentioned, most people think they should have been there. So I don't know. I don't know what this support. So as a coach, you need good people around you to challenge you, right? You should, if you're running any organization, you need your contrarians with you to challenge you to make sure the decisions you make can stand up to scrutiny. I don't know who's challenging McClaren's decision or if he's even making the decision. So let me just touch on another thing. I'm going to do the player select first and then go through different aspects of this. From a player standpoint, I think he selected there are a number of players he selected who shouldn't have selected, and some he didn't select. And I mentioned the ones he should have selected that he didn't select. Right? That's the first thing. Second of all, I don't understand how Tyrese doesn't get more game time. And I will never understand how Dixon played with Tyrese. I'm sorry, you can't convince me otherwise. I know some of you are talking about he's more familiar with CONCACAF. Stop the nonsense. One played 46 games for his team. One played a few minutes. There is no comparison. Okay? And people in charge are now asking the question, what the hell is going on in Jamaica? How does this work? They don't understand, but we say we understand. If we know we're in Charlton. Word. They're trying to figure out what's going on. I like the player, but that's not fair, and that's not right. Frankly, it's basically almost inappropriate. And the coach made that decision. Yeah, Jay, I heard they call up K-Roy and McCall. That's what I heard, so maybe that got to be confirmed. Yeah, but let's not talk about the referee. The referee, but the CONCACAF referees need to go back to referee school. So in terms of players also, so the Kahim Dixon Tyrese didn't make any sense. The Ravel didn't make any sense to me. The Antonio, Bobby Reed, Hayden didn't make any sense to me in terms of replacement. Those didn't make any sense. Low playing in midfield doesn't make any sense. It's crazy what's happening. I mean, and let's go to the coach and how he coaches, right? So he got out-coached in that game. There's zero doubt about it. Guatemala came prepared. They knew what our strengths are. They knew how to go over the top. They knew to exploit us. We did none of that. We were inept offensively because we had no midfield. And our forwards, they couldn't do anything one-on-one. So everybody keeps, not everybody, but a lot of people keep beating me about, oh, you don't like Bailey. And I have to bite my tongue when I get that pushback from people. When Bailey played his supposedly the best game for Jamaica against Guatemala, to me, and you guys gonna beat me for this, no Jamaican player played bad in that game, but he was far from being the best player for Jamaica in that game, right? In fact, he may have been the worst player, but nobody played bad, so he looked good because nobody played badly. He had one assist to Russell, a very good assist. But a lot of times I was in the stadium, I hear the groans when he took the ball and dribble and fall down a lot of times. Right? Falls down all the time. I have never... And he's always falling. Man is always falling over himself, tripping over himself. You know why you trip over yourself? Because you're always trying to play with the damn ball instead of passing the ball. I did say he got an assist to Russell with a header. I did say that, Fabian. So I don't understand why people keep saying I don't like the player. I advocate and I support and I want the player to score a goal so we can just move on, frankly, and do something. But don't tell me I don't like the player because I have no dislike for any player. Why would I dislike somebody who plays for my team? What is it about the player that I would dislike? Well, I still don't understand the logic, actually. If you don't deliver, I have to call you out. Man is always falling over himself. Against the U.S., you know the first goal was scored? He got the ball in the box, slipped down, they got the ball, went down and scored. And we're in an offensive position. He's ready to shoot, and he tripped over himself. He just wearing the wrong boots, or he's nervous. I have no idea what's happening, but it's a constant. And if you're the coach, you got to find out, why is it this player is always falling down? Is the player unbalanced? Is he wearing the wrong size shoes? What the hell is happening? But to say Cranky don't like the player, I don't think that's fair on me because I'm always calling the player out because he has a certain pedigree. He plays a certain level, and you expect him to produce for his national team, and he doesn't. So that's my frustration. Right? It doesn't make any sense to me. How come Bailey and Cephas finished that game the other night? And we had Dixon and Tyrese Campbell on the bench, and we had Burrell who came in for a little bit, and we had Antonio came in. You put in Antonio and Burrell, two center forwards. You just have to look and say, he has no idea what he's doing. I have lost. So the question I was asking is, I'm asking you guys, have you lost confidence or trust in the coach, or you still trust the coach? I know where I sit. Huh? Odell says the coach make no in-game change and only makes subs at 75th minute, no matter how bad we playing. Then press conference at every question, same response. I realize no easy games in CONCACAF. So Mike, so Chris, do you trust the coach? People, you have confidence in the coach? I'm getting all. Jeremiah says, I'm ready to ask him for the next coach. Wow. Dr. Dan says I'm indifferent. Dr. Dan, how you doing? How's California? And you met the Reggae Boyz. I know you went to the hotel. Rabian says, wait 1 second. Rabian says, but the JFF stop interfere with the team selection. It is my understanding, Rabian, that contractually, the coach can pick his own team. Then repeat that. Now, maybe the coach listens to other people, suggestion, but it's my understanding, and I've had it from very good source, he can pick his own team. Right? So let's not say that others are influencing him. If they are contractually, they can't. And they can't fire him unless they want to pay him off and they fire him. They can fire him for other reason. I won't touch on that, actually. You can get fired for other reason. In fact, they probably should consider it. You can get fired for other reason. There's no doubt about that. So, but we go to the whole concept of whether they should get fired or not and what those reasons may be, right? So what is AC said, this better make sure he gives Campbell a game so he can cap tie. I think that's one of the reasons he didn't bring Muddersill. He's a double agent. I don't know if that's the reason. I still don't understand why Muddersill was in the squad. You scratch your head when it makes it. So where's Romario Williams? Because he wasn't on the bench the other day. We have how much center forwards we have? Like we have more center forwards than midfielders. And center forward is one position. We have Burrell, we have Antonio, we have Romario Williams, we have Brown. We have 4 center forwards. And it's not like these center forwards all are versatile, so they can play all over the field. 4 center forwards and 2 midfielders, basically. Even though it lists 5 midfielders, only 2 are available. People, if that's not utter madness, you have to tell me what that is. 4 center forwards, people, and really 2 midfielders. No Hayden, they knew wasn't going to be there. Bizik Atkins is not a midfielder. We have Russell, we have Palmer, and Bobby Reed was injured, and we knew Bobby wasn't going to be there. Why they put him in the squad? Don't ask me. Don't ask me. So we have more center forwards, twice as many center forwards as midfielders in the team. And center forward is 1 position. Midfield is at least 3 positions, given the way we play. And I'm not making these things up, you know. These are facts. The logic is actually illogical because there's no logic, right? It's just, I want you guys who are all supportive of the coach and all that, come, I want to hear what you have to say to support the argument about some of the decision making. So let's go into the game itself, actually. At some point in that game, when Guatemala start dominating the midfield, don't you make some changes? Don't you tell Russell to stay deeper because he's playing too far forward, and Gray to stop playing left wing because he's supposed to be playing CD Cam? Don't you have something? Don't you tell? There's no midfield, you know. Lowe is chasing the ball, Gray's playing left wing, and Russell is playing Cam basically because he's always ahead. I am amazed at all of those things that transpired, and he has help on the bench and nothing changed. Yes, he did change Lowe at halftime, put him at center half. King, did King get injured? I didn't get any information on that, actually. Or was King just a strategy change that he's made? I don't know. So I'm getting don't trust the coach, don't trust the coach, don't trust the coach. Boy, never confident in the beginning, no confidence in the coach. It's too late for the game to change the coach. It's too late in the game to change the coach. Is that true? Didn't Levy change Marino before he went to the final or semi-final? Didn't Levy from Tottenham make change late in the game? We're World Cup qualifiers. I think we'll make the World Cup if with the people we expect to come in. And I've said this before, not because of the coach, but despite the coach. All right? If we get the players we should be getting in, well, you know what? The coach may prevent us from getting to the World Cup. If he keeps playing the team, he keeps playing. So the reason we may not work the World Cup is because of the coach solely, not the players. He just makes decisions which scratch your head. Christopher said, front three for me, Cephas, Burrell, and Campbell. So who are you playing in midfield, Christopher? So the question is, Cranky, is there really a quota thing for JPL players being added? It is my understanding. So there was somebody called, is it DW last night, who said I was lying and I'm creating a false narrative and also the negative things about the team, right? I was told by an official there is no quota system for the Reggae Boyz a while back, right? When we was on Man program. Because I try not to call people's name anymore. I'm really managing name calling. And so that's official. That is no quota. There's only quota for junior team. But let me just say this. I was also told that the best JPL players, I don't know if it was must or should be in the national team. It's almost like a must be in the national team. The best JPL players. Now, how you define best and how many, I don't know. So if I combine those two, which is, and this is coming from somebody official in the JFF. This is not me making this up. So if you tell me there is no quota, but you tell me the best players have to be in the national team, then to me there's a quota. And the coach always keep talking. And yesterday when we started the game, 6 locally developed. So the difference between JPL, locally developed, and diaspora, right? Locally developed player could be playing overseas, and we know who diasporas are born overseas, right? Now, we had 6 local developed players that start the game. The 3 center forwards, the goalkeeper, the right center back, and the CDM. We had 6 local developed players in the team, right? And we had 5 diaspora naturalized players. Now, of those players in the team, 2 were JPL players, right? And we have 4 in the squad between Ming, Busy Atkins, King, Brown, and we're adding McCullough. So we're going to have, right? Number of players in the team, in the squad, actually. JPL players. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is this, and it's not beating JPL players. Just think about this. In a lot of teams across the globe, they're made up mainly of local. They don't have what we have. We export human capital all over the globe, right? So they don't have the situation we have. They export players, like Brazil export a lot of players. They don't have a lot of locally based players in their team. Most of their players play overseas. And we have some of that. So the question is, does it have to be a JPL player in the team because they're the best in the JPL? Or should it be that, you know what, if the local players who play overseas or JPL are good enough, they're in the team? Your team should be a meritocracy. Someone sent me this today. They indicated to me that there are 6 Jamaicans in the Canada team. By the way, Canada spanked Honduras, which is ranked just below Jamaica, by 6-0. Canada is coached by Jesse Marsh, who, if you ask most Jamaican, they think he's probably not good. But if you ask Canada, he's the next best thing to slice bread because he's slicing up CONCACAF the way he's going. There are 6 Jamaicans in the, I was told, I don't have that information, in the Canada team, which I'm going to mention their names because the person who gave this to me is an informed person. St. Clair, Larin, Buchanan, Miller, Nelson, Cornelius. 6 Jamaican players. Have we ever recruited a player from Canada in the national team? No, I know some of those. We keep talking about English-based players and English-born players. 6 of them in Canada team, which is now almost I won't say they dominate CONCACAF, but they're in the top 3 in CONCACAF, and they're staying there. You could say they're probably the most informed team in CONCACAF. 6 Canada players. Have you ever heard the JNFF called Canada try to recruit? Huh? Is being a dinosaur. The JFF has to realize that, first of all, maybe we need to stop recruiting European coaches and maybe recruit coaches who know CONCACAF, because the people come here tell us about this is a tough region. I didn't know it was like this. Oh my God, CONCACAF. Maybe you shouldn't be part coaching my national team because you don't know the region. And you come here trying to learn and your contract is short. By the time you learn CONCACAF, you off someplace else. Right? So maybe we should think about spreading the recruiting and not just focus on one region. Secondly, maybe the way we source players has to be more global, more comprehensive, more thoughtful, more structured, because right now it's a very haphazard process. It's not a thoughtful process. Canada have 6 Jamaican national team. You know, people, that most countries are at war for talent to play football. They're warring. They're fighting for players. England, the other day, when Carsley was the boss, he tried to cap everybody and their mother. If you could walk on chew gum, he's capping you. The only country not doing that is Jamaica. Do you know we have no MOU, meaning a memorandum of understanding, with the PICA about football players? We have none. None. Basketball does in Jamaica. I think lacrosse does in Jamaica. Why doesn't Jeff have an MOU? You know why I think they don't have an MOU? Because they don't want one. The JFF has a conundrum, people. And this is the conundrum. Aspirationally, and not necessarily wrong, they want to have local players have an opportunity to play for the national team. The problem is a lot of local players are not at the right level to be able to do so. McClaren keeps calling them aggressive and fast. He never said they can play football. So if that's the case, then you have a conundrum, because you're not going to select the best players who have Jamaican citizenship. You're going to bring in players from JPL who may not be good enough, or local players who may not be good enough, and then you won't have the best team on the field. And then you struggle to compete. Right? You struggle to compete. And so you will never get to where you want to get to. And fans will be frustrated, but some of the fans are part of the problem. You're not part of the solution. Travis says, coach have something against Ravel. Late K-Roy call, didn't play a game in Unity Cup. That's true. And I was told by somebody that Cover looked good in training. King Jav says, cranky from this game start, they were terrorizing Bell. He was going to go too high and caught 4 times on that side. Yeah, part of Bell didn't have the greatest game. But also part of Bell's problem was Cephas was playing reactive defense. You guys got to look at that. Sometimes he was like, oh my God, somebody's behind me, I got to run back. Cephas was playing reactive defense, and his right back was having a head of a game. So it's not just Bell, but yeah, Bell didn't make him cover himself in glory. He didn't. Gray's a winger, and Gray plays like a winger. I agree. I thought Gray could play the 10. I suggested he tried to play the 10, but he doesn't play across the line enough, or he doesn't come back enough to be deemed a midfielder. It's a position he's learning. And I think the coach wants him on the field because he wants the offense on the field, but he has to rethink that. Ravian says, too late to make this coach, or I guess to change this coach. Is it really too late? Michael says, Cephas and Gray should not be in the field at the same time. It's becoming more clear that may be the case. Ravian said, we can't keep changing coaches. Of course we can. Abramovich did that at Chelsea year after year after year, and he keep winning championship. You can change coach. What you should say, We can't keep changing coaches who do well and keep the ones who don't do well. That's the issue. It's not about changing coaches, no. Donaldson did well. Hawkinson did well. The under 20 coach who didn't know she was even let go did well. We can't keep changing coaches who do well and keep coaches who don't do well. Or put coach in place who, to me, I don't know how he even got the goddamn job. Like, seriously. Like, when you go for an interview, people, and you have on your resume a certain skill set that you have, and you can talk about that, and your resume speaks for itself. If I'm interviewing somebody for a coach of a national team, and I use Emery at Arsenal when he came in, and I use Pochettino when he came to the US, part of my discussion with you is, do you understand and know the players who are going to be playing for you? Do you know what the landscape look like? Do you understand aspects of the country and how it works? If I talk about a player and his strengths and weaknesses, do you have that? This coach, this part-time coach, didn't have any of that. It is my understanding, and I think it was said at the first press conference, that the coach is expected to be on the island. The women's coach is always on the island. The women's coach is always on the island. The men's coach is never on the island except when they have games in international window. He come a little bit early sometime, and he go to the Savannah Park to watch semifinal of JPL, and he's prominent, and they interview him, blah, blah, blah. The man is on vacation half the time. The man that is using Y Scout, whatever thing he uses, he don't go to games to watch no player. Man is not doing his job. So when you can't fire him, you can fire somebody who's not doing their job. In fact, I would ask the JFF this question. JFF, if his contract requires him to be on the island, then you can fire him for cause without paying him. Let me repeat that. JFF, if the coach's contract requires him to be on the island for a certain amount of time during his tenure as coach, and if he doesn't satisfy that obligation, that requirement, you can fire him for cause. Because right now, the way he's coaching, we don't have no coach. We don't have no coach. Seriously. That may seem strong. We don't have no coach. I find it hard to believe that any of the goddamn JPL, let me stop using that word. Let me take that back. I find it hard to believe that any competent JPL coach couldn't do a better job at this current moment in time, even though some of them may pick local players at the expense of better players. I find it hard to believe. Right? I find it hard to believe. Seriously. I find it hard to believe that any JPL good coach, let's take a JPL good coach, maybe a Rudolph Austin, even Rudolph Speed, frankly, even though he may want to pick some of his own players, I got to beat him for that, couldn't do a better job than this coach. Seriously. I mean, he's been awful. And I'm not exaggerating. He's been awful. The fundamental thing about picking a 23 or 26 man squad, and you got that fundamentally wrong, like so bad it hurts your team and it costs your team and it may cost you a lot of money. That's not rocket science. And then you take that and extrapolate that to the game and then basically say, you don't know what you're doing. Press that. I press up. We're afraid of beating. Press up. We're afraid of beating. No, but I mean, just think about it, people. You pick the wrong squad, and you pick the wrong players in certain position, and then you know what we get? The outcome we get, and we shouldn't be surprised. The man's been here a year. He still doesn't know his team. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a mumbling, fumbling, you know what? And I'm not exaggerating, and I'm not being rude, and I'm not being crude. It's a fact. And you have to call these out with some kind of emotive perspective because it has to resonate with people that this is a problem. And if I was a JFF, I would take some drastic actions. I have said this from day one, people. When you hire a coach, you should be looking for a coach. Let me say this again. When you hire a coach, I call it succession planning, you should be looking for a coach. And you don't have to look for a coach by putting out feelers and all that. You should have your list of coaches on your list. You should be doing your behind-the-scene investigation about who you can pursue or not pursue, who you may have to buy the contract, whatever it is. You have to assess whether or not you don't have money, so you can't afford to fire the coach. But if he has cause, you can fire him before you fire him. You can do that. What should he do on the island? Should he be doing in Jamaica? Scouting JPL players? Well, amen. If you have JPL players in the team, then you should be scouting JPL players, right? If you're going to put JPL players in the team, how do you know about them if you're not and watching them on a continuous basis? This concept that we have of using 1 and 2 games to assess a player's capability is madness. It's madness. We watch 2 games and it's played. Holgate come play 2 games. Hayden come play 2 games. Say they're not good. Go back. We don't want you. And they come back and they look good and we're like, oh, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. You need a good sample size to inform your view about the ability of a player. Some players play the entire season and great, and they come 2 games for national teams and then done. They're not good. Now for Bailey, we have 37 games, and we know what that is, right? You need a good sample size. You need a good sample size for you to make an informed decision about a player. You can't use a couple of practices. You can't use a few practices. Well, you know what? This man can't play, or this man not fit, or this man not that. No. Then you're not a football coach. Then you're not a football person. You know there's a body of work that informs your view about a player and their ability. Do you want to be judged on just a couple of situations? Huh? Oh, I know what this person is because I saw them here doing this, and then that informs who they are. That's nonsense. I don't know, Jeremiah. I don't know what the assistant coach is, but somebody's not doing their job. Well, look, every administration, everybody who hires someone wants somebody they can influence. If you're their boss, right? You have to be able to influence them. The question is, they should contractually make sure that some areas are off limits. Like, I don't think anybody can tell Pochettino or to pick his team. See Pochettino in the press fighting with Pulisic. You know who's the boss. He's making his own decision because he has a resume and a pedigree and a contract which says what he can and cannot do. If he doesn't perform, he gets fired. If he performs, he keeps his job. Yeah, Cornwallian, but he's still picking JPL players. That means he believes they're good enough to put them in the squad. He keeps saying they're not good enough, and he keeps picking them. You can't have it both ways. You can't keep saying they're not good enough and keep picking them. You can't have it both ways. Colin Quest says, Gordon is the head coach. MC is just a figurehead. JFF will not take any action because he's doing everything they want. Give him some rum and get him. Lord help us. Amen says that's a waste of time. He should be traveling around the UK. The rest of you are looking for players. So, Amen, here's the problem, Amen. If we want the football to move forward, I keep saying, I said this a long time ago, we should have hired a young Spanish coach or maybe a young coach from this region that we think have certain pedigree to help the football on the island and to help guide direction of travel. I think my Wi-Fi, I'm leaving here tomorrow, so Wi-Fi, you can active all you want. We have to have a coach who can also inform the national football scene, not just the national Reggae Boyz team. So it's a very short-sighted to hire somebody like McClaren. And I think Hallgrimsson was trying to do that. Hallgrimsson was trying to make sure we have a sustainable program in place and make sure we are bringing in players who had the longevity and who can be here for a while, that can help with the national team, at the same time think through how we can develop the football locally. That's an imperative, and that needs to be the case. We can't just think short term. We got to think short, medium, and long term. Well, the sample size, Tony, is not just about national team play. It's about club football also, right? So if you see Holgate play for the Premier League for the last 5 years, and he come and have 2 bad games, doesn't mean all of a sudden he just became a bad player. It means he's trying to get acclimated to a region. So allow him to get acclimated. Maybe 10 games is a good sample size. Can't be 2. All right? Can't be 2. See everybody now talking about Hayden? When Hayden first came, he was getting beaten by people like Maverick, by the way. Hayden played how many years for Newcastle? Yeah, they weren't at the top. They weren't at the top of the Premier League table, but they were a decent football team that stayed up, and he was the cog in the wheel playing the CDM. And he came in a very good academy. He had very good pedigree, very good stock. And he was getting beaten. He's not good, he's not this. Then I hear Maverick now apologizing. But Maverick don't know football anyway, so I shouldn't bring him up as an example. But the point I'm trying to make is that Hayden is a good footballer who had a very horrendous injury, and it's going to take him time to get back to who he was, and he's not getting any younger. Holgate, to me, has a lot of low tendencies, frankly. He's a good footballer, but he's also very rash. But he's also playing with more composure nowadays when he plays for us. Maybe age is helping. We'll see if that's the case. But we see him get a red card when he came to us. He is who he is. He's a good footballer who can make rash decisions. So I'm going to see a football guru come with a contrarian view now. It wouldn't take him long. So Reggae Boyz reactor, whose football guru said the apple cart was upset when Augustin left. Most national teams who are doing well have coaches who know the configuration of players and had 4 years to build. Yeah, but Augustin left because he couldn't work with the JFF. Let's be honest. He divorced the JFF. They didn't divorce him. And instead of them telling him he can't get out of his contract, so Ireland could pay them, they allowed him to go because they felt good that he left and they didn't have to pay him. He played them and got away with it. Fact. If I was me, I'd say you're not going anywhere. Then he would have to leave, and then we'd see where he goes. Then Ireland would have to pay us something. We'd make some money off Ireland because they wanted him badly. They were searching for a coach for a long time. Now, we didn't know this, but why would somebody just get up and leave unless they had a job? They wouldn't just get up and leave because they're mad. They're not stupid. Yeah, I don't know who's paying Pochettino's salary, but the U.S. Soccer Federation has money. They're building this huge complex out in Atlanta. I mean, they're borrowing a lot of money, but they're getting a lot of sponsorship too. But we can't compare the U.S. resource-wise. I think Canada's a good comparison. Canada has run football federation run bankrupt, didn't they? They had money problems. They're still a dominant force. They still have 6 Jamaicans in their team. Why haven't we recruited any player from Canada? Because you know why? Part of the problem that we have is this. We don't want the young players in our team. So we haven't built up any leverage with those players. We haven't built up any loyalty with those players because we don't want them. We want to populate the team with locally developed players who are not at the right level. So we'll lose those young players who come to us, say they want to play for Jamaica, we tell them no. And the JFF can't get that through their heads because they are who they are. Max says, I think McClaren's so afraid to fail. He's okay with being a yes man. Imagine getting sacked by Jay for whatever reason. It doesn't help his CV. McClaren's on his last job, people. He ain't go. When last time McClaren had a head coaching job? He's on his last job. He was not a good hire. I said this from day one. He's never a good hire. Now I didn't beat him as much as Presser did, but he wasn't the best hire. He was like a recycled hire. People got excited about we have this coach and he had this. Nah, you need innovative coaches. You don't need old recycled coaches who have never come up with anything innovative in their life. Cranky stop tell lie. The man sing the praise of JPA creatures. Tony Brush, you're not hearing the man. The man said JPA players aren't good enough. What are you talking about? Yes, he may sing certain players coaches. When they interviewed him at Sabina Park, what did he say? He started talking about we teach players from the age 7. You guys are not listening, You're just hearing the topical information. You're not listening to the substance of what he's saying. That's part of the problem that we have, people. You listen with your ears, you don't listen with your brain. Listen with your brain. Don't just listen with your ears, listen with your brain. And it's frustrating to hear you say that, Tony. I don't care if you want to play King all these. The man basically says JPA players are not good enough. When we got 6 from US, he basically said it, and he's been saying it ever since. He said it the other day at the last press conference. He said the Guatemalans are technical. The Latin Americans are technical and aggressive. We are aggressive, strong, and fast. Doesn't that tell you that we can't play football? Because he called out King and a couple of more players? He's saying they're good? The JPA players are good? Listen with your brain, not your ears. Sorry. Not listening. That's what happens sometimes. We don't listen. Aim Henry said he's hired for 2 years. The terms of reference should be based on what the current objective is. Hire proper technical director to do this. Grammy was hired for 4 years. Yeah, but I think the problem that JFF has is they don't have the money to hire the technical director that they need. So a good technical director in this region at the low end is about 250 USK, I've been told. If that's the case, that's a lot of money for the JFF. You're paying what, between 4 and 6 for the coach, 250 for technical director. The coach also have assistants. You're running almost a little bit south of $1 million at the end game if you add up everything. It's a lot of money. JFF don't have that kind of money. What was the verdict of the 3-love game? All I hear is massive mood swings depending on the results. 4 coaches, 6 years. Where have you been, Bert, from? We have been complaining about a lot of different things. Bert, from, I'm sorry, but I don't know where you have been. You must have come out of a cave someplace. Well, who was preaching the thing about Ravel and about all the stuff that people are asking about Brandon Cover, about who didn't play? We've been preaching these things for the longest. You're just hearing it now. You're the one under a rock, Bert. I'm sorry. You're the one under a rock. Yes, people got excited about the 3-0 win. And yes, they gave credit, because you should give credit when it's positive outcome. But look at the body of work. Sorry. Is Isaac sick, Cranky? I'm going to pass on that question. Why you guys asking rhetorical questions? In 433, why are you guys asking rhetorical questions? Don't ask rhetorical questions. Isaac is not in camp. That's all I'll say. Arguments plan. Yes, I would agree with that. Love life, boss. That is true. Here's the problem that we have, and the JFF had a problem. The JFF has to fix that problem. And this came aboard when we had the whole process of trying to elect between the two different organizations, the Ricketts team and the what's the name of the other gentleman? His name is eluding me now. That was running against him. I'm gonna call it the Cataract team. The Cataract team, right? The Cataract gonna beat me for saying this. The Cataract team, and Cataract was there to say, "Look, I didn't like the administration or the operating. We need a change." So Cataract team and the team for Ricketts. The problem you have is this: is that it's like people are saying about, I don't like to touch politics in Jamaica, but it's lesser of two evils. Right? That's how people see it. And the control and influence resides with the individuals who run the parish associations. Right? So they're the ones who have majority of the votes, the JPL teams and those who control the parishes. They have most of the votes. And therefore, they make a decision about who they want to be their body that runs the JFF. So you have to appease them. Now, you can appease them by picking JPL players or having players from their constituent be part of the national program. Otherwise, they're going to say, you know what? You're not beholden to them. They're going to elect somebody else. So there's a catch-22 here. And that's where the politics comes in a lot. So we are mistaking the politics just being whether coaches pick players or not. Part of politics is that JFF, if they want to be in power, they're beholden to those who elect them. And those who elect them have different objectives from what you and I may have. Right? So it's not just beating those in the JFF who sits in those seats, because frankly, they may not have a choice about the decisions they make because they don't control the process. The parish presidents and the JPL teams, the ones who have the votes, they control the process. If you're part of a JPL organization and a team that has a vote and your players don't get picked in the national team or players in the environment don't get picked, you may say these people don't have our best interests at heart. They can't be in power. So it's a catch-22. It's a catch-22. So we should stop beating the coach. The players are the weakest link. McClaren hasn't had an opportunity to present players who he considers to be his best. He's looking to look at players. The coach has to get beaten. You tell me this Reggae Boyz reactor. Please, Reggae Boyz reactor, because you won't call in, because you can't call in, because you're probably part of the JFF, or you're affiliated with the JFF, you can't call in. But since you like to type this. Explain the midfield. Explain having 20-something players. Explain having 3 goalkeepers and 2 midfielders in your team. Please explain that to us and tell us that's the players and not the coach. Explain playing a player out of position who you know doesn't fit the position, doesn't play the position well, is a ball follower, and will not play the position as it required to be played. Please explain that. Explain the changes that are made and instructions given. Because when you're beating players and not beating the coach, then you're being very biased, and you're not being objective, and you're not being fair. The things we are calling out are plain. You don't have to be no football guru or football analyst or football aficionado to call out these plain, basic, fundamental things. Right? Yeah, there's a lot of costs involving football people. We'll get into the cost another time. We won't do cost tonight, but it's very expensive to run a football team. Yeah, man, they're first. Well, I know they're a first half team. They came back against. No, they're not really a first half team. They were first half against Guatemala. They were second half against who they played, Mexico, and tonight it appears that they're something else, right? Who were they playing in their first game? They were first half against. In the second half again, I should say, not first half. No, but you have to somehow, big deal, address this narrative, which is not okay and it's not correct, right? You have to check that. Oh, sorry, Presser. Good night.
Thank you. Happy to call you tonight.
Yes, Presser. You can't beat me, Presser. You can't beat me. We
have to address the elephant in the room, right?
Yep.
Or should I be in the room? What's the deal with Isaac Hayden?
He's in England.
Yeah, but we can't. As you know, we sit here and we talk about transparency. I think he's one of our most important players, right? If not the most important.
He's our most important player. He's not one of. He's the most important player.
So
because he's the only player that's irreplaceable. So he's most important.
It's acceptable for the coach to come and say that he has a stomach cramp.
Well, if that's what he has, I don't know. I wasn't there, so I didn't see stomach cramp, so I don't know.
Yeah, but everybody's moving in secrecy about Isaac Hayden.
Yeah, I mean, if the coach has stomach cramp, then we have to believe the coach, right?
Yeah, well, we can't believe when you have a reputation of lying to the people, right? We can't always.
Yeah, I mean,
Reggae Boyz space, you have people who are oftentimes privy to certain information that even the coach has, right?
Yeah.
So I personally think it's unfair for us to, us as fans to sit here. I don't know
You don't know what?
Etc. to be here and not tell the truth about Isaac Hayden, I don't think that's a stomach cramp.
No, I think he said stomach cramp and respiratory issues, right?
Well, is that the truth?
So I assume he's at the hospital trying to get his respiratory system fixed. I'm assuming that's what happened, right? I'm assuming he's at the hospital.
Be transparent. Since you call for the JFF to be transparent,
right?
I think you should be the one to be transparent.
What do you mean? I'm not a JFF. Wait, back up for a minute. I'm a YouTuber just like you. Right? I'm a YouTuber just like you. Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah. As I said, people, if you have respiratory problem, you should be at the hospital. And hopefully we can get an update on his condition. Because it's respiratory. Whatever that means. I'm getting all these comments from people. Even saying, the man is my phone is blowing up. You know what? Sometimes I forgot to turn the volume up on this phone, the second phone that I have. I can't say what I was told, but I wasn't. Let me just say this: I wasn't told that, so I don't know. I'm not going to say the coach. Did I say the coach was lying before? If I did, I probably should take it back and say the coach has one version, and I'm assuming that's the version. I'm assuming that's the version. But here's a problem with the coach's version. Hayden was sick before the BVI game. He didn't play that game. Then Hayden recovered with the same symptoms he had and played almost the entire game against Guatemala And then subsequent, it reoccurred and he went home. I don't know. Guess that's how it works. Hayden is irreplaceable. We weren't giving up as many goals before he came. Changing the cup, our Trinidad and Nigeria walked through a middle. We need to go back to the 4-4-2 system. Why is it that Reggae Boyz reactor always Reggae Boyz reactor? How do you sleep at night? So I have nothing wrong with somebody being a contrarian, but how do you sleep when you counter every single argument by being illogical and you think it's logical? Does your brain work in reverse? Like, is there some people brain like that where they just? I used to know somebody who used to be on my soccer team. I swear, people, you never have an argument where he takes the side of the majority. Never. I don't want to call out his name because I'm going to get beaten if I do. And I'm tempted to do so. If you said Trump is bad, he said Trump is good. If you say Trump is good, he said Trump is bad. And he has logic for his rationale, right? Because there's always two sides to a story. It's almost as if you take pleasure in being on the opposite side and trying to make case sometime, which makes absolutely zero sense. You just have to like scratch your head saying, I know we have alternate universe that Trump lives in and other people live in, but where do you ever Reggae Boyz reactor ever agree with anybody saying anything at any time? That is amazing. I haven't gotten it, and I hope I never get it. Upbeat says, why Pinnock always has the right to pick the games that he wants to play. Said not to play the two World Cup qualifiers, and then he showed up in the World Cup. Yeah, I think Pinnock has, you know what? I beat, but I empathize for this reason. I think he has major injury problems. He doesn't play all the games for Brentford. I could see if the player play all the games. He reminds me of Thomas Partey for Arsenal, and it's even worse than Thomas Partey. At least Thomas Partey is fit this year, and he wasn't injured when he was at Atletico Madrid. Pinnock always seemed to be picking up injuries. I don't know if it's because of his build or whatever it is. So I think he's trying to manage his body. And when they say personal reason, I think he's just trying to manage his body. So I beat him the last time. I just don't think it's okay. But I reflected on it and said maybe he's just trying to manage his body and make sure he's fit at different points in the season, because he has been fit for the last couple of seasons. He's been in and out of his team. And he has to make sure that he knows his body and when he can play and not play. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Amen says, the guy was hospitalized in Jamaica. They forced him to play. If I was him, I would run back to England to get care. Okay. If that's what you believe, Amen, that's how it is. Determined says, I could care 0. Players are replaceable. Yeah, Amen. No, I'm sorry, Determined. Chicago replaced Michael Jordan. You guys are confusing replaceable with similar or better quality. There's a difference. Everybody in life is replaceable. Michael Jordan was replaceable. Whereas how many championships Chicago won since Michael Jordan left? Everybody's replaceable. We agree with that. Nobody's irreplaceable. And you should always have contingencies to replace people. But we don't have any quality midfielders, period, much less ones who have EPL pedigree and can play at a certain level. We don't. So when you hear Reggae Boyz react about he's replaceable, please put the name Reggae Boyz reactor. When you're talking, put the name of the person you want to replace him with. And you talk about we give up goal, how Trinidad walk through a midfield, is because Russell is playing high and Grace, and not Gray, but Palmer is playing high. We're playing up 4-1-4. That's what we're playing, 4-1-4-1. We're not playing 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. You act like you don't see the difference when Haiti's in the team. And you act like only preventing goal is the role of a CDM. We saw Lowen compared to Hayden. We see people apologizing because of that. It's frustrating when I hear some of this nonsense you guys are espousing and this narrative you're spreading. The player has been quality when you watch him play in the games he played. He was quality against Nigeria. He was quality against Guatemala. As it relates to our team, is he the best CDM around? Of course not. But he's the best CDM around for Jamaica. By a good mile. There's no comparison. And he's irreplaceable in Jamaica team. Just saying. Someone says, I can't wait for somebody to be replaced. I have no comment. Oh Lord. I guess that must mean Pinnock then, right? Amen says, I don't blame the coach. I just don't trust him to make the right decisions. Too political. I can see Meron for continuity, but after 5 years, time for him to be replaced. Yeah, I mean, there's politics in football all across the board in different organizations. I believe if I'm a coach going to an getting fired, me and my staff getting fired, this coach has autonomy. Whether or not he wants to exercise that autonomy is a different story. People can give you advice all they want. You don't have to take the advice. You don't. Now, if you don't take it and you fail, you're going to get fired. If you take it and you fail, you're going to get fired. So you have to make a decision. It's your decision to make. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if this squad, I think this squad is balanced. I don't think it's unbalanced. By the way, Amen asked a question the other day. I mean, just a while ago, not the other day, about why should this coach be in Jamaica? He should be across the globe sourcing talent, right? Because the JPL players been at the right quality. So why is the women's coach in Jamaica? It's even worse situation for the women's program than for the men's program. Must be a reason why he's here, to try to help the football, help the structure, help the development, help the strategy, because he has certain expertise. So, and the men's team and the men's program is much, much further along than the women's program. Now, the coach does go back to England, but I ain't seen him at no game. How many games have the coach gone to watch players? Huh? He said, I talked to players. I hear he'd never been to Bailey's game to watch him. I don't know what games he goes to. We don't see him in the stands like we see Tuchel in the stands watching players. We don't know. We don't have a video camera at his home to know where he is. We have no idea. We know he's not here, and contractually he's supposed to be here. That means he's violating his contract. I'm just saying. Reggae Boyz react to say it's a team game, Cranky. We were doing just as well without Hayden. Hayden, majority of games are against weak teams. He hasn't impressed me, Cranky. Okay. Well, I mean, it's for your prerogative, your perspective, right? He's impressed some other people. He hasn't impressed you. So I'm not going to knock you for your perspective, but you are a contrarian. I hope you look in the mirror and realize that. Woman says he's irreplaceable, but it's not just because he's so much better than the other players, which he is in that role. It's also because our coaching system is a bullock, so that he's even tougher. Yeah, I think he has a lot of attributes that you want from us. He's played the position at the highest level, people. That's the thing that people don't seem to realize. He was the CDM for Newcastle for a number of years. Even though they may not have been the top of the PPL, they're still playing in the toughest league in the world. So he plays at a high level at a position. We have nobody who's even close to playing at that level in that position. As a nation and as a region, we struggle, when I say region, I mean the Caribbean, with midfielders. And even in England, we don't have a lot of exceptional midfielders of Caribbean descent who are now in the EPL that can play for Jamaica. We just don't. Right? You hear me crying off for McNeil and for Ramsey. Doesn't look like they're coming, but you need that. Your belly is your most important thing, because if you can't get your food in, if you can't get food, you're going to starve. That's why our forwards are starving. If you don't protect the back four, you're going to give up goal. That's why we struggle sometimes. Your midfield is an imperative, and our midfield is not good enough. Well, I mean, JFF don't really come out and say, they do say something sometimes about, but what are they going to say? We're sorry for the loss. We hope to do better next time. We don't want to hear that. So I don't think they can say much, actually. I don't think they can say much. Okay, so if I'm using the word local players, then it probably should be more JPL, because local players also include players who play overseas. I'm getting some texts here. So I get a text from somebody that says, the only plus for the coach, he's a good recruiter. So the person who takes this to me should know, I should say. So maybe he's bringing people across the line. I think he brought Hayden across the line, even though Devon was the main person that reached out to Hayden from way back when. But I think he probably comes in as a closer because you want the coach to talk to the player to convince the player that they can be part of his squad and they can play a role. So, yeah. Yeah. Let's see. What else I have here? DC, good evening. Hala Madrid, good evening. So Truth say, Cranky, what deal? Who you know the coach I try contact? Oh, hey, truth or truth? Stop that lie. We know more than you think we know. Much more than you think we know. Truth or truth, don't blame me for you not having access and information. Don't blame me. Be part of the community. Hit the like button, truth. And listen. Maybe you learn something. Yeah, I haven't watched the K-Rod interview, but I don't know why wasn't he here in the first place. You only brought 2 midfielders to the Gold Cup. Why wasn't he here in the first place? If you thought he and McCullough were the ones you're supposed to bring in, you should have brought him in earlier. You only had 2 midfielders in the squad because Bobby Reed was injured, Hayden was going back, and Busy Atkinson. Why is Busy Atkinson listed as a midfielder? Does anybody know? Because I don't. I haven't been given that information. Or we had too many forwards, so you had to put him someplace. Huh? Cranky sound like he chased dreams. So Truth is a contrarian also. Their man did not play for Jamaica. Okay, let me skip you, Truth. I don't know what you're talking about. So, Reggae Boyz, tell me one subject I have changed my mind on just to be contrarian. I know you don't believe it, but I have totally different views than most of the novices. So you're calling people novices. I can tell you, Reggae Boyz reactor. I don't have time to go back to all my videos, but you're a contrarian. It's not about changing your views. Your views are not aligned with reality a lot of times. You also espouse a certain narrative which you want to promote, and I give you the visibility to provide your perspective. I don't ignore you, right? Because I like the contrarians who don't have a leg to stand on. And what I'm getting now, so here's the thing, is what I realize, people. You guys don't realize this. I realize this. And this is not to promote me and my program, but some say this. As soon as your program start getting a little traction, there's more people in the JPL coming out, JFF coming out, and even the JPL coming out to be contrarians. And I pick them up as soon as they come out, and I smile. Some I give visibility, some I ignore, right? As soon as they believe that people start listening to you and people want to hear what you have to say, they then have to come full force if the narrative doesn't support what they're trying to do. So let me just say this to you guys. I see you. I can identify you. I don't know exactly who just with my eyes, but I use my brain, as I've said before. So bring it on, because I have facts on my side. I have facts on my side. And I get information all the time from reliable sources, which I will never disclose, because that's how it should be. So I know sometimes people try to get under my skin and say, Crank, you got to be more transparent and stop saying that unless you... That's how it is. Reporters do that all the time. They have their sources. Right? They have their sources and they can't disclose their sources. Then why would anybody trust them and give them information next time? Sometimes people want to use you to get information out, and you have to understand what that is also. And sometimes they may give information which may not be exactly correct because they want to provide their perspective. You also have to cipher that also. You can't just be gullible. Sometimes you don't know when it's being gullible or you're not. But you have to have enough knowledge and experience and know-how to try to get the information, assess the information, get corroborative information, so get other sources of information, align them and see if they make sense. Sometimes even when you get it from two sources, it's still not accurate. Right? I give you what I've gotten. Some of the sources I trust, because they have no reason to give me something different. Some of the sources I don't trust, but I listen anyway. I'm not giving up any source. Cranky, did you get your free chicken at AFC? I don't eat chicken, so I don't have to worry about it. I was wondering why the line in Montego Bay was so long. I'm telling you, people, the line was like what's the name of that lady who was the singer who dates that guy from Kansas City Chief? Because I hear that her concerts are busy. Or you know what? I have to use that. The line was like a cartel concert. Maybe a better example of a more contemporary artist who is generating a lot of buzz. The line was like a cartel concert. It was long. And don't talk about the car line either. They probably blocked traffic in Montego Bay. I didn't know it was because Jamaicans love freeness, so maybe that's the real reason. And especially with Kentucky. Yeah. Or Taylor Swift. Okay, yeah, Preston, Taylor Swift. Yeah. That was the kind of line I saw at the Kentucky shop in Montego Bay today. It was ridiculous. And by the way, it probably was right. Let me see. It was about in the evening. So I don't know if school was totally out, but if school wasn't out, a lot of kids were out of school. Let's put it that way. If school wasn't out, you know you're making money when you can give away chicken, whether it's half price or you know you're making a lot of money, right? They're printing money, people. Printing. You go to any of the Kentucky Fried Chicken down this area, there's about 3 of them, not far from each other. They must be in like a 4 or 5 mile radius. And there's people in there all the time. It's a continuum. It's like you're just churning out cash. Tony Brush says KFC in Jamaica tastes better than KFC in the USA. Okay. That's not even being a contrarian. So Reggae Boyz is going to tell me how to define words. A contrarian is someone who takes the opposing view just to be contrarian. I just told you I had a friend who did what you did. Reggae Boyz, you're not listening with your brain. I just told you about a friend I have who go the opposite of anything that you say. He's a contrarian, and you're trying to explain contrarian to me? Really? No, you do it just to do its sake. You ain't doing it because you feel no genuine situation. I'm mostly right. You can be right on something that's subjective. That is the illogical perspective, Reggae Boyz reactor. You can't be right on something that's opinionated and subjective. There's no right or wrong. This is not a fact-based discussion we're having a lot of times. We're having different opinion and perspective on different subject matters. So you're not right. I know you think you're always right, but you're not. But then you can't see that. Ferdinand Cam says, I can't agree with everything you're saying. I'm watching my beloved country playing the football. Yeah. I don't know if I'm right on everything or you agree with everything I'm saying, but I am calling things as I see them. Right? So Odell Lowe says, Cranky, serious question. If McClaren losing Pele and Maradona are no longer here, so we can't use those as example. And we can say Messi and Ronaldo, but they're past their prime. If he loses the Guadeloupe game, there's serious discussion needs to be had. If he loses Panama game, we shouldn't be surprised. Right? We shouldn't be surprised. Panama is a very good team who has given everyone in the region a tough time. And we've only beaten them once in the last, I can't remember how many times. We beat them for 3rd place in the Nations League. Yeah, maybe Mbappe and Yamal is also good. But so I wouldn't use Panama as the barometer to judge whether or not we should have the coach. I would say that if we lose to Guadeloupe, serious questions have to be asked. Right? Serious questions have to be asked. Know Yourself says, Tycho, not just McClaren, bro. Meron and Lamar and all the other failed needs to get sacked too. Yeah, I'm not calling for anyone head to be put on the platter and them to lose their jobs. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is that the coach at this point, he has to be better. He has to. Here's the question though: does he have the ability to be better? It's one thing to say somebody needs to be better when they may not have the ability to be better. Can he be better? I don't know. right? I don't know if he can be better. I just don't know. So I'm not gonna say they should fire the coach. I think they gotta give him. They can give him more time. I will admit, I'm just not impressed. You know, Hogrimson had certain thing about him. He was a very defensive coach, but Hogrimson's team was hard to beat. Hard to beat. The first thing he did was make it hard to beat. He wasn't the best offensive coach. I'm not sure what system we're playing under him per se. This coach, I don't know what system we're playing either. But he was hard to beat. Right? We played the US. I watched the US game. They got a lot of chances against us. They couldn't score. We were just locked in. They scored at the last minute. We scored an own goal. Then they beat us in extra time. We ran out of energy. Are the supporters overreacting? You guys tell me. Here's the problem, Drew Ross. It's not, you know why we haven't beaten the players as much? Because the coach haven't put the players in the best position to win. Right? Now, there's some players, like a Russell, who had a poor game the other night. We know what Lowe did. We know what Gray did. So people like Gray and Bailey and Cephas, they didn't get a pass, but they would have probably gotten much more pressure and more negative perspective if the coach had made so many blunders. Because the coach is not playing, his players are playing, but the low in CDM affected everything. You hear me say that before the game even started. Maybe I just play it again. You know what? I'm going to play it again. You guys hear what I'm saying? I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play it again. And if the coach have low in the CDM, I'm all losing respect for him. We saw how Lowe played against BVI. He's not a CDM. We should not have gone to a tournament with just one CDM, 1-6. It is inappropriate, actually. I shouldn't use the word inappropriate. It's unconscionable to go to a tournament with 1-6, and when that 6 is not around, we're struggling to figure out what we're going to look like. The whole middle of the field gets reshaped and repositioned when people are in their right positions, actually. So this was me before the game, right? Before I know the squad and who was going to be playing. This was me making a comment. This wasn't a comment made subsequent to the game. This was a comment made before the game saying it's unconscionable to make that decision. This wasn't me saying it after the fact and having, post information to inform my view, having a hindsight view. This was me saying it's ridiculous. You're going to play low in the CDM before the game occurred. So if I, who was supposed to be a YouTuber, know nothing about football and is football novice and not as great as Reggae Boyz, whatever his name is, Reactor, and all these great pundits and perspective and football aficionado, if somebody who was as clueless as me can say that early and see that, and it transpired and occurred just like I thought it would, then anybody can see it. Huh? Anybody can see it. If I don't know about football, I've been told, and I'm just a YouTuber, and I can call this out and showed my indignation when I saw it and thought it was ridiculous before the game, and exactly what occurred. It ain't take no genius to see it. No, I didn't watch Curacao play, actually. Maybe I should, because I heard they have a lot of Dutch players. Yeah, we always do well in the Gold Cup for the last 5 or 6 of them. So you say maybe we should fade the Gold Cup and make World Cup? Well, if that works that way, then fine. But I think the JFF lose a lot of money not getting to the second round or the third round. A lot of money. Right? A lot of money. People don't understand the financial implications of being knocked out early. And I'm telling you this now. If we get knocked out early, there are going to be some repercussions in a lot of different places. And you're going to hear some noise, maybe even from the players, about some things. Okay? Because then you can't pay the players if you ain't got no money. We're not rich. Yes, the numbers improve. Yes, Dennis Chung was you can call him a miser, but a prudent miser when it comes to the money and the JFF. Some people are more lax when the money comes to the money. Some people should spend what they don't have. They have different objectives. I'm telling you. You guys are not understanding how this is going. There ain't no Adidas bonus. There ain't no Adidas money coming in apart from the little penny they give us. A few pennies they give us. Yeah, tycoon. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. Doesn't take a genius. It's not a good thing to not do well in the Gold Cup. The Gold Cup could be a momentum for the September window for the World Cup qualifiers. The Gold Cup also give us resources to allow us to fly private charter. You don't have money. You can't do things. You can't invest in local. It's a lot of knock-on effects, people. Trust me. A lot of knock-on effects. All right? Knock-on effect. No, the coach going to get his money. He may not get to do certain things he wants, but he's going to get his money. He's getting paid. I just think the coach is, so let me use euphemism a little bit. I just think he's just not good enough. I think he's like some of the players he criticized and said they're not technical enough. He's not technical enough in his job. The coach has some of the same deficiencies that he talks about his JPL players have or local players have. Footballers passed him and left him at the stable, and he's a dinosaur. Very obvious. As them say at Jamaica, him not ready. Conrad say he not ready, or they say in, like Trini would say, or people in the small islands would say he not ready. Yeah, we say we should be beating Guatemala easy too after we beat them the first time, Amen Ring. I don't know. We played on to our competition. Look how we played St. Vincent. We keep saying this. Look how we were against St. Vincent. We barely beat St. Vincent. We barely draw with them and barely beat them. We scored 2 late goals against them. We didn't dominate them. Yeah, the coach is a dinosaur. Hasn't had a head coaching job in for. When did it? Hey, Presser, you should know this. When was the coach last head coaching job, Presser? I know, Presser, you can beat us, but I thought you were a little bit hard, Presser. That's why I came out at you. But I didn't disagree with the fact that I don't think it was the right appointment. Yeah, I think the coach is a little bit of a dinosaur. Nah, Andre Blake is a goalkeeper. I don't think your goalkeeper should ever be a captain. I just don't. Football captain is not as important as a cricket captain. I still don't think. I think Damian Lowe is the captain, frankly, in terms of how they operate on the field. I think Bobby Reed also functions at capacity when he plays, but he's not here. There's dependency on the Gold Cup money. There are dependencies on the Gold Cup money. I'm going to tell you that right now. There are dependencies on the Gold Cup money. Reggae Boyz Reactor, I think you know more than you're saying, so don't be disingenuous, Reggae Boyz Reactor. You know more than what you're saying, so don't be disingenuous. Okay, Reggae Boyz Reactor? You know what you're saying. Don't blame other people who have left. You know budget was set. You know what's happening, Reggae Boyz Reactor. You know more than you're saying. Maybe your source didn't give you all the information he should. Go check him again. If Arsenal would never appoint Steve. Are you out of your mind, 433 Presser? Are you drunk? What are you talking about? Use examples that make sense, 433. Arsenal appointing Steve McClaren was only one title in his career in the Dutch league, who failed as England head coach, who got booed out when they didn't make the World Cup. Are you out of your mind? I knocked out against Steve Bruce. I wasn't a McClaren fan. I was the one advocating for a young Spanish coach to come in and teach us how to play football and teach the young kids in Jamaica how to play football, not just the national team. I wasn't supporting no dinosaur. And when the dinosaur come and can't make a good decision, he made it 10 times worse. I agree with you, M. Henry. Well, I wouldn't say Ten Hag failed. Ten Hag won you 2 trophies. Presser. I wouldn't say Ten Hag failed. My coach has not won me any trophy apart from his first season. Ten Hag won you 2 trophies. In fact, if you look at Ten Hag and Amarin, you may change your mind about certain things. Maybe it wasn't the coach, maybe it was the players. Now, Gold Cup money is important for the team. Very important for the team. And I know Reggae Boyz react to know better. It's very important for the team. Where's they going to get money from? They sent a bunch of sponsors. I don't think they had any contingencies in those contracts to say, you know what, we get the World Cup. I think they probably had it in some, maybe not all of them, but in some of those contracts, I'm not sure. I think the Adidas contract needs to be revisited. I think the Reggae Boyz have so much revenue generating potential, even after this Gold Cup, that they have not exhausted, they have not explored, they've not exploited. Dennis did a good job of trying to get us to pay $10 for a streaming service. That's highway robbery. But Dennis did a job at JFF. That is highway robbery, by the way. Revenue source, right? $10? That's $10,000 a month. That's just 1,000. If you had very good content and better content, you make it 100,000 people at $10, $1 million. I'm just saying. There are different ways you can generate funds if you have thoughtful people helping you structure your deals and structure the situations to allow you to maximize your revenue sources. It's possible. It's possible. Yeah, well, I don't think it's. We have to bifurcate the coach from the administration, right? The administration give the coach a latitude to do his job. They shouldn't interfere. I don't know if they do, but they shouldn't. But they have expectations and performance indicators to inform their viewers whether or not the coach is doing his job, right? We've had a lot of failures, people. A lot of failures in a lot of areas. We're not as good as we think we are. And maybe the fans are part of the problem because we think we're better than we truly are. But here's the point. I made a point earlier. If Canada have 6 Jamaicans in their team and they beat in Honduras 6-0, 6 Jamaicans in their team, I've heard us recruit 1 Canadian player. The JFF have to find a way to marry all their competing priorities. They have to find a way to marry the competing priorities. The parish presidents, the JPL teams, the administration, the stakeholders, the diaspora, they have to find a way to effectively ensure that they can align and coalesce all those constituents who may have varying needs to make it work seamlessly. Otherwise, we're going to be here having the same discussion over and over again. Because right now, we have a huge conflict and a huge what I call conundrum between the objective of the JPL, the parish president, the JFF, and the national interest. Right? That's the way I see it. The national interest. What's the national interest? The national interest to me is to maximize whatever resources you have to achieve a given outcome, the best outcome for the nation, which would be inclusive of all the fans, right, that support Reggae Boyz football. That may not align well with JPL teams, those managers, those coaches, the administration, the parish president. It may not align well. At some point, somebody has to be smart enough, and somebody has to be deductive enough, and somebody has to be influential enough to find a way to coalesce all these things to achieve that objective. And understand that you can't just think short term. I said think because I'm Jamaican and H get butchered. You can't just think short term when you're just trying to achieve some long-term goal. There has to be 3 elements about short, medium term, and long. And you may have things which may contrast as you go along that journey, but you know what your ultimate objective is. So if your short-term goal is to get to the World Cup, you think you hire the best coach for a short period of time, it may not help you long-term in terms of development of your football, but you're going to use the resources from, if you achieve your objective, to invest in the football. So they may seem contrary, but they're not contrary, right? But my frustration is I don't see where that thought is out there. I don't see where that leadership is out there. I don't see where the effort is being made to do this. And the whole thing about balance, which Martin has mentioned, go on the balance beam. Go do like Maverick. Go on the fence and balance when he's trying to juggle JLP versus PMP and all that nonsense. Go on the fence and balance. That balance thing is nonsense. That balance thing doesn't make any sense. You can't balance citizens. That DEI approach doesn't work. See, Trump killed DEI in the US, even though to me DEI was a little bit different. That DEI approach doesn't work here for football. DEI in sports don't work. That's one thing. Sports is the one thing that shows up anything that is not fear. Sports is unforgiving when it comes to meritocracy. Sports is unforgiving when it comes to meritocracy. You don't pick the best team. It's very obvious to those who follow the sport. And it's very obvious to the ultimate outcome when you don't pick your best team or you don't source your best team. It's very unforgiving. It's very obvious. It's very transparent. So if you don't go out and source the best players and put them in the best position to win and source the best coach or just pick a coach which is convenient, then it's going to come and manifest itself in outcomes that are not reflective of what you want to achieve. I advocate for DEI in the US because where I worked in corporate, DEI was about giving people an opportunity. DEI wasn't about hiring the worst person for the job or hire someone to get. DEI was about if you have an interview slate, at least where I worked in the companies I work for, you make sure you just don't put Caucasian people on the interview slate because then you disadvantage other people from getting a chance to interview a job. You guys are conflating DEI with preference for certain things. That wasn't DEI that was involved in. I don't know about other organizations, other things. Plus, DEI in America is a different construct. We had slavery for 400 years. People weren't given a chance. People start at different locations, and we don't have no discrimination. They are citizens in Jamaica. In fact, DEI has been knocked out in the US. So, yes, I support the DEI because when I worked, what we did was we made sure that the interview slate include people of all races that were qualified based on their resume to get interviews and we pick the best candidate. So if you want to call that DEI, that's up to you. DEI here is different. We are saying players who are local have to be in the national team regardless of their ability. That's what I'm hearing. And for those who want to complain and says, oh, Cranky, you're lying and Cranky, you're this, then you have not talked to the people that I've talked to. Are you not as been informed as I've been informed? DEI here is a little bit different. It doesn't say the best. And first of all, these are all citizens and these are all black people. It's not like a race situation where, you know what, Caucasian, Asians, Hispanic. These are all people of African descent we're talking about, at least most of them. So where is the racism here that drives the need for historical discrimination that affords for people to be given an opportunity? Nobody in England prevents somebody from Jamaica from getting an opportunity. Maybe the poor coaching, the poor administration was what did that. Nobody in England prevent that because they grew up in England. You guys are conflating two things and not making good analogy. Sorry, don't agree with you. That's like, hey, you know, Reggae Boyz reactor. That's a great point. Now I've seen it. It's happened to NBA too. But you know what? In some areas, it really doesn't matter because we understand what happens, right? It's sort of reverse in a sense, but nobody make a big deal of it because it really doesn't matter. But there's the race situation cannot be compared to some other situation. It just doesn't line up well. But Reggae Boyz reactor, first time you mentioned something which I can't necessarily dispute because we see it. Actually. But it's not DEI. I think you're conflating DEI with something else. That wasn't about DEI. That was about something else. Now, you may call it DEI if you want, but it wasn't about having diversity. It was about appeasing certain audiences. So if you're playing Utah, look at Utah team. Utah team is never fully black. I'm not going to say African American because the NBA now have a lot of players. Go look at Utah, for example. It's not by coincidence that Utah always have a lot of players over certain persuasion. And some of the good players too. While New York is agnostic and don't really care. But I do think in Jamaica, we don't have that same problem. It's a different situation. And we want to win. And a lot of people don't really care so long as we give the citizens, they're citizens. They are citizens, Reggae Boyz reactor. They are citizens. Now, we're not saying, here's what we're not saying. We're not saying if two players of equal ability that we should just pick the diaspora player or pick the local player. We're saying that the coach decide which one he thinks fits his system. That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. If they have equal ability, let the coach pick them. Give the coach the ability to pick who he wants to pick based on what he requires for his team. No, they're not more qualified. I don't think but we don't know what the qualifications are and why they're picked, right? Professional sports are a little bit different. In sports, teams want to win. That's why you have diversity in sports. That's why you have so many blacks playing baseball. Well, not in baseball anymore, because those are mainly blacks who are probably Latinos. The NBA became 75% black at one point. Now it's changing because a lot of Europeans are coming in who are Caucasians, because sports is a meritocracy. And sports force you, if you want to win and increase your brand, to pick the best players. So why do we want to do something different in Jamaica? Why would we not want to pick the best players? But anyway, I've talked long enough. My mouth is getting dry. I have to pack up and get out of here. I'm going to close the program down, but I do appreciate you being here. Before you leave, people, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. And if you haven't shared the content, please do so. I do appreciate you. I hear you, Conrad. I do appreciate you being on the channel, having this conversation. I have been shocked by Reggae Boyz. What's his name? What football group call himself nowadays? Reggae Boyz something. Making a point, which actually I can agree with. We rarely ever agree on anything. But most importantly, I do appreciate you being here. I appreciate the support. And, we have a game on Friday, people. I am traveling tomorrow. I'm leaving Montego Bay today and traveling tomorrow. But I hope to carry the game and do a watch along on Friday, actually. And I may even do a show tomorrow night if I get to my location at a good time. I do a pre-game show for the game on Friday, which we cannot afford to lose. We cannot afford to lose. Reactor is the name, J. Ross. Thank you. We can't afford to lose that game. The coach is going to be under immense pressure. I don't think I'm going to make the press conference because I do want to be professional. I don't want to be rude. And I know I'm going to get frustrated in that environment. And you should know yourself and know where you should be and where you shouldn't be as a person. And so I am trying to avoid these press conferences because I think there are questions that need to be asked sometimes where, as Henry actually said, you can't give the coach a window to slide out of the question and get away from it. The questions have to be direct. And sometimes it may have to be very, very challenging because I do think he played these games of trying to squeeze out of the question and answer it a certain way where it doesn't really answer the question. Okay. I hear you, Max City. Someone says DEI is Trump's cabinet. Yes, Trump is fighting against DEI, but his cabinet is DEI. His cabinet is not even DEI. His cabinet is sort of more nepotism, actually. It is who supports me. It's not DEI because it's not diverse. His cabinet, because we're not using the DEI term to use it more in nepotism than what it truly actually is and meant to be. His cabinet is mainly just people who support him. If you're on a Fox commentary and you support Trump, you get a job, like Hex said, and be head of defense. Brilliant. Anyway, thanks, people. Thanks for being here. Have a wonderful evening. I may see you tomorrow. If not, I will see you Friday because I do want to do a pregame show. Bless up, everyone. Peace out. Thanks. Frankie Life is the best to be now. For the best sports talk and it's free, yo. Frankie Life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Frankie Life, tell them. Frankie Life, heed them. Frankie Life, want them. Frankie Life. From the courts to the field, we'll never lose because Cranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Crank your life, build them. Crank your life, heed them. Crank your life, warn them. Crank it, crank it, crank your life. Crank your life where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Crank your life, get to know the name because cranky analysis is never lame. Crank your life, give me my cranky life. I want my cranky life. Must have my cranky life. Whether it's football or track and field, you know cranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat and subscribe and dumb is a beat of cranky life. Tell them, cranky life. Heed them, cranky life. Warn them, cranky life. If you're from England or USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana, visit Cranky Live. Tune into Cranky Live. Like up Cranky Live. Subscribe to Cranky Live. Cranky Live coming to you on weekdays. Cranky Live sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because Cranky will always bring the heat. Cranky Live. Me say fi tell them Cranky Life. Me say fi heed them Cranky Life. On them cranky life. Cranky Life will be around. Cranky Life is the best in town. Me say fi heed them. Me say fi want them. Me say fi heed them. Want them, heed them, want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Heed them, want them, heed them. Want them, cranky life. Cranky life. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Cranky. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed them.